Hey, good morning, team. A few people jumped on right now. Hopefully everything's going okay. Let me know in the chat if it's coming through. Team, I can see Sean there. How you going, Sean? Good to see you, mate. Anyone else online? Jump in there. Only this page. Okay. And all right. I've refreshed it now. Hopefully it's working, team. Sometimes you just get the old. All right, we're all good. It's all happening. Oh, hopefully. Anyway, tech troubles. You think it's perfect. You think, oh, you've got it sorted out. But there you go. Anyway, good morning. Good to see all of you guys here. Let's dive into today's Wealth Coffee Chat. Good morning, everyone. Jason here with you. Great to see you again on another morning Wealth Coffee Chat. Today, Friday today. Hopefully you're good wherever you are. Hey, today I wanted to talk to you about a little bit of a headline that's floating around, which is the old Fin Review, which is an interesting one. The page didn't send a notification. Yeah, okay. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. Well, it's just a few of us this morning. I won't restart it. But good to see you, Alison and Sean and Rose and a few others, whoever's on right now. I've refreshed the other page, but yeah, it didn't send out notifications this morning. Anyway, you can never get it perfect or right with this live stuff. Anyway. So I was just chatting. I was just having a little look at the headlines because I'm always looking for something to talk about on these morning Wealth Coffee Chats. If anyone's new, give us a shout out in the chat, as we've been doing this for a while. Always looking to have a bit of a conversation about something that's poignant and an interesting headline popped up, caught my eye just yesterday. Housing approvals drop at their fastest pace in 21 years. Now, it's a very sensationalist headline. As you guys know, I think the media hammered up significantly, and their job's not to analyse any data, but just try and make a headline or two out of very incomplete information. So I thought would be maybe a little bit of fun to jump on here this morning and have a look at what does it mean here. Housing approvals drop at their fastest pace. You and I both know, if you've been coming along to my morning Wealth Coffee Chats for a while, or you're in the mentoring program, you know that we've been talking about a severe, and I mean absolutely severe, property shortage in Australia, and it's pretty well everywhere. You go and try and buy yourself a piece of registered, ready to build on piece of dirt right now, a bit of land. Well, good luck with that. And the prices that you're paying are like through the roof. Now, the home builder stimulus, the government giving away money like drunken sailors, thank you, government. That did stimulate the construction of first home buyer stuff, new home, which was fabulous, but it took most of the supply out of the marketplace pretty quickly. So it went up fast and it's coming down fast now that stimulation is moving through the system. And what are we going to be left with? What are we going to be left with as investors? What are we going to be left with as property professionals, property people in the marketplace, and what does it mean to us? And that's what I thought we'd chat about today, because the construction industry is certainly got a few hills to climb in this next 12, 18 months, 2 years, and we're getting indications and communications from people who've gone alone with small builders, maybe price shopping. Cheap is not always the best way to do it. Let me tell you, folks, are now looking at 2 years until their houses are built, where we should have taken 9 months. So that's quite an interesting one. But anyway, let's have a bit of a look at this. The dwelling approvals in Australia And let's have a look at a bit of history, and then we can have a look at what's going on in the last little bit, right? And always, there was a point in time that kind of marks a fairly poignant time in the property market was the GFC. All right, my old dyslexia is playing up on me again. So G comes first. GFC. There we go. So the supply chain was severely broken when it came to the GFC. And what happened after that, after the GFC? Well, you can see there was a significant increase in supply shortly after. And probably over the longish term, there was quite a good upswing in, dwellings in general. All right. Now, the one I want you to pay attention to is the housing, the red one here. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so we can get in a bit closer. And you can see houses, land, team, often are difficult to supply. Okay. Now, remember, this is approvals, and it means approvals for construction as well as underlying, subdivisions and land and whatever. So, again, the devil's in the details when we dive into this stuff. But look at this. Have a look at how kind of stable, if you have a look at land, it's pretty stable. Like, give or take, bits and pieces, it's fairly stable. And so too was, the apartment space for quite a while. So the combination of units and apartments. And you can see quite an upswing in both, land, houses and apartments sort of after the GFC, which was a response to a severe shortage prior to the GFC as well. So what have we got now, team? We've got we've had a long, not a long, but since late 2016, 2017, APRA came out and ruined our ability to borrow like we used to. I'm still a bit I'm cranky about that, but you can't hang on too long with those sorts of things. And it reduced the supply chain in the Australian market. The new properties coming through have dwindled significantly because people can't borrow. People can't borrow as much as they used to be able to, either in number of properties and or volume of borrowings. And that is slowing the market down, the new construction market down, okay? So let's have a look at this sensationalist data here. Housing approvals drop at their fastest pace in 21 years, okay? All right, well, that's interesting. Let's have a look at what happened before. Now, let me tell you, team, for something to drop at its fastest pace, it had to go somewhere beforehand. So let's look at this. It climbed at its fastest pace, and now it's dropping at its fastest pace. So in reality, when we dive into these sensationalist headlines and we say, well, what's going on here? Like, is this something we should be paying attention to? Yeah, we need to understand where there's value in this statement or understanding. But is it something that right now that you and I need to be worried about? The answer is no. Okay? No, it's not. So we've got to be careful of that sensationalist headline. But by and large, if we took this volume of home buyers out of the picture, ladies and gents, if we took that volume of home buyers out of the picture, which are first home buyers, people sort of in the system, if you look that is a continuing trend downwards in our supply chain, okay? So our supply chain in Australia is heading downwards. I don't think there's going to be anytime soon, and I'm saying in the next 2 to 3 years, a significant uptake or upswing in our construction supply chain, unfortunately, because it's a little bit tough for the developers out there. Land values have risen. I did a live the other day, industrial land on the fringes of cities now gone up over 60%. In Melbourne, 60%. Imagine if you're a developer and your base cost now has gone up 60%. Now you have to pass that cost on to the end user. That's a pretty significant increase in, the end price of anything. So that's going to happen. So prices are going to go up. Some construction materials are up 75%, framing, etc. So house pricing, any construction's going up. Getting materials at a timely manner, difficult. What we used to be able to build a house in 9 months now, sometimes taking 2 years. So I don't think, team, that this supply chain is going to be fixed anytime soon. So what's that mean to us? You wait till things happen like, we get 150,000 new Australians in because the government needs people for jobs and get people into the country. You wait. What's going to happen? What is going to happen to the world of real estate? It's going to pass on, I believe it's going to pass on some rent increases, okay? And that's, for me, when we have a look at the marketplace, where do we want to see some of the rents going up? And as the supply chain, the available properties for rent go down, okay? So for all of us, team, if we have a little look at what's going to happen to our properties in the next little bit. Go back to that. Oh. Where should we be sitting? Where are we right now as property investors? Number one, I'll go back to my little thing. Actually, number one, there is going to be some pressure on the rents. Don't miss. Now, there's a few things that I need to sort of give a shout out for everyone right now. Don't miss this. Don't miss the increase in the rents, okay? Rents going up. What happens? I was chatting to a couple of investors the other day. They're like, I've got some great tenants. They've been there for 3 years. I don't want to put the rents up. And you know what? Right now, if you don't put the rents up, you could be easily $50, $80, $100 behind in the marketplace. And you compound that, over a year or 2 years, that can be, many, many, many thousands of dollars for you guys as we go. Yep. Perfect. Planning on new carpets for a refresh. Great, Alison. Do a bit of a refresh. Absolutely. Rents up. Rents will be up. Now, here's one thing that I want you guys to, if you're in acquisition phase, there's 3 phases we talk about: acquisition, consolidation, lifestyle. If you're in acquisition phase now, the market's moving quite quick. It's competitive, and many of us are maybe a little bit nervous about buying in a fast-paced market. It's nothing to be nervous about. You guys have done your research. You've got a coach. You've got support. You've got a team behind you. Nothing to be concerned about. But what you need to have a look as the price you pay now versus the rent as of today, sometimes those numbers won't look as good as you want them to. And what I'm saying to people now is, I would say, especially if you're buying off the plan or you're constructing a house, I believe you're going to be putting $50 to $60 more on a rent in the future than it is as of today, okay? So some of the numbers, some of the rental returns, because the house prices have gone up so fast, are starting to kind of look a bit, it used to be 4.5%, 5%, and now it's kind of like 3.5%, 4%. You're like, that's too low. Now, considering the interest rates are like 2 to 3%, that's not too low. However, I'm seeing a lot of people misunderstand how to interpret the marketplace and the rents in the future. Your rents will be more. If you build a good property in a good spot, you will get more because there is a severe shortage in the marketplace. So I would be a little bit more bullish in your rents. Make sure you've got buffer and all those sorts of things. But don't not buy a property because someone won't tell you what it's going to rent for in 2 years' time. Who knows? But do your homework, do your research, understand the market you're entering, because I can tell you right now, if that market is severely undersupplied with, 1% or lower vacancy, the rent from today and in 2 years' time is going to be up, folks. Okay? It's going to be up. So don't not buy right now because that fake figure today, you can't get a certainty for, when it lands. Hopefully that makes sense. The media loves a good sensationalist headline. Housing approvals drop. To be quite honest, that's actually pretty good for us as investors. As supply tightens, we're all happy. If we own, a bit more challenging if we're in acquisition and buying. Not ultimately that challenging if you're with us and our buying team, our acquisition agents working for you. You guys know that. So, team, there you go. Little quick wealth coffee chat this morning, just about this supply chain. Nothing to worry about there, and a few little tips about how to buy. And let's crack on with it. We have Wealth, Wine and Wisdom this evening, or this afternoon, 4 p.m. Queensland time, 5 p.m. other places, Sydney and Melbourne. And there you go. Yeah. Well, yeah, I reckon that'd be an all right idea, Alison. You never know. I'm sure Andy and I will get opinionated this evening. Wine and opinions. Maybe we should call it that, Wealth, Wine and Opinions. And we'll talk about things tonight. But there's a lot of stuff going on. The cryptocurrency is going mainstream. Andy and I have been talking about that for a while. And huge amounts of interesting conversations in the world of investing. For me and you, the number one risk in investment in our investing world is the political risk, the politics, the stability or the instability of politicians all over the world just being maniacs around things. And, I think we need good politicians, don't get me wrong. I think our system's pretty good in comparison to the alternatives, but as investors, we need to be clever about what we get up to. Anyway, I'm just dribbling on now. Join me tonight, Wealth, Wine and Wisdom. You guys be awesome. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Me and Andy will hang out. Hopefully you guys can make it, and I'll see if I can make sure these notifications work on my computer. Not quite sure what went on there, but anyway, you guys are awesome. Take care. Stay well, be well.